The bedroom door slammed shut, the sound a gunshot in the quiet house, and I froze, my wife's words still burning in my ears. Become a man, only then will we have intimacy. Her voice had been sharp, laced with a venom I didn't recognize, her eyes cold as she turned away, leaving me to choke on the silence. I stood there, heart pounding like a trapped animal, the weight of her accusation crushing my chest. What did she mean? I'd spent years building a life for us. Long hours at the firm, late nights soothing her through her anxieties, every sacrifice a brick in the foundation of our marriage. Yet last night, her words had sliced through it all, leaving me raw, exposed and questioning everything. The next morning, the house felt wrong. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of her lavender perfume. But it mingled with something unfamiliar, something musky, like cologne that wasn't mine. I stood in the kitchen, gripping the edge of the counter, the cold granite biting into my palms. The coffee machine gurgled, a mocking normalcy, while my mind churned. Had I missed something? Her late-night meetings, her sudden need for space. Her phone always face down on the nightstand. Small things I'd brushed off as quirks of a stressed marriage. But now, her words replayed. Each syllable a splinter under my skin. Become a man. What kind of man wasn't enough for her? I tried to focus, pouring coffee into a mug, the dark liquid trembling in my unsteady hands. The house was too quiet, the kind of quiet that screams secrets. She'd left for work early, her goodbye a curt nod, her eyes avoiding mine. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was unraveling, a thread I hadn't noticed until it was too late. My phone buzzed on the counter, a text from her. Running late tonight. Don't wait up. My stomach twisted, a sickening lurch. I set the mug down, untouched, and moved toward her office, a small room at the back of the house she'd claimed as her sanctuary. The door creaked as I pushed it open, the sound loud in the stillness. Her desk was a chaos of papers, sticky notes, and half-empty coffee cups, a stark contrast to her usual meticulous order. My eyes scanned the mess, landing on a leather-bound notebook, its edges worn from use. I hesitated, my fingers hovering over it. This was her space, her private world. But the sting of her words pushed me forward, a desperate need to understand. I flipped it open, my breath catching as I recognized her looping handwriting. The entries were dated, a journal of sorts, but it was the last page that stopped me cold. He makes me feel alive again, she'd written, the ink smudged as if she'd pressed too hard. Not like him, not trapped in routine, not suffocated by expectation. I can't keep doing this. My heart thudded, a dull roar in my ears. Who was he? I scanned the page, each word a blade. Late nights his hands, the way he listens. My knees buckled, and I sank into her chair, the leather creaking under my weight. The room spun, the walls closing in, their soft gray paint suddenly oppressive. I wanted to scream, to tear the page out, to pretend I hadn't seen it. But the truth was there, in her own hand, undeniable. I don't know how long I sat there, the notebook open in front of me, my mind racing to piece together the fragments. The late-night calls she'd taken in the other room, her sudden interest in book club meetings that lasted until midnight, the way she'd started wearing that red dress I hadn't seen in years. Each memory was a puzzle piece, snapping into place with sickening clarity. I wanted to believe I'd misunderstood, that this was a mistake, a fiction she'd written to vent. But deep down I knew. The betrayal was real, a living thing coiled in my chest, squeezing tighter with every breath. The front door clicked open, and I flinched, slamming the notebook shut. Her voice called out, bright and false. Honey, I forgot my charger. You here? My mouth went dry, my pulse a frantic drumbeat. I shoved the notebook back into place and stepped into the hallway, forcing a smile that felt like a grimace. She stood by the door, her coat half on, her cheeks flushed from the autumn chill. Or was it something else? You're home early, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. She froze for a fraction of a second, her eyes flickering with something. Guilt? Fear? Yeah, just grabbing something, she said too quickly, her fingers tightening around her purse. I'll be late tonight, like I said. She moved toward the kitchen, her heels clicking on the hardwood, each step a hammer against my resolve. I followed, my mind screaming to confront her, to demand answers, but my tongue felt leaden, stuck. You've been working a lot. I said, leaning against the counter, watching her rummage through a drawer. My voice was calm, but my hands shook, hidden in my pockets. Everything okay at the office? She didn't look up. Just busy. You know how it is. Her tone was clipped dismissive, and it ignited something in me. Anger, hot and sharp, cutting through the fog of hurt. I wanted to grab her, to make her look at me, to see the man she'd dismissed so easily. But I didn't. I stood there, silent, as she grabbed her charger and headed for the door. See you tonight, she said. And then she was gone, the door closing softly behind her. The rest of the day was a blur. I couldn't eat, couldn't work, couldn't think past the ache in my chest. By evening, I was pacing the living room, the shadows lengthening across the floor, the house a tomb of memories. I kept seeing her words, that smudged ink, the confession that shattered everything. I wanted to hate her, to curse her, but all I felt was a hollow ache, a love that refused to die even as it bled out. I poured a whiskey, the glass cold against my lips, the burn doing nothing to dull the pain. Then I heard it, a car pulling into the driveway, too early for her to be home. I moved to the window, the curtains rough against my fingers, and peered out. Her car was there, but she wasn't alone. A man stepped out of the passenger side, tall, broad-shouldered, his face half hidden in the dusk. My breath stopped, the world narrowing to that moment, to the way she laughed as he touched her arm, to the way she leaned into him, her body soft and unguarded in a way she hadn't been with me in years. I didn't think. I grabbed my phone, my hands shaking as I opened the camera, zooming in on them. The shutter clicked, capturing her smile, his hand on her waist, the intimacy that wasn't mine. The evidence was undeniable, a digital scar I couldn't unsee. I sank onto the couch, the phone slipping from my fingers, and let the truth consume me. The next morning, I left the printed photo on the kitchen counter, her red dress a vivid slash against his dark jacket. I didn't leave a note. I didn't need to. When she came home, she'd see it, and she'd know. I walked out the door, the autumn air cold against my face, my heart a ruin but my steps steady. I wasn't the man she wanted, but I was done begging to be enough.